JB says Vanguard is getting worse by the day. Do I recommend any other brokerage firms, or should just keep that Vanguard? I'm not really in the area of making recommendations, but just as an FYI, JB, all my stuff is at Schwab. I like Schwab. I have Wellington over at Schwab, so it costs $45 to buy it and probably $45 to sell. Should I ever do that? But Schwab's fantastic. I love Schwab. Sadly, I can't say you're the only person who said this lately about Vanguard, that it's getting worse every day. I'm not sure what's going on there. I have a sneaky suspicion they're getting too big for their britches. In fact, they're raising their fees, as a matter of fact. It's just, it is what it is, man. But I like Schwab. I don't know anything about Fidelity brokerage accounts. I know people who use them who seem pretty content, but I just like Schwab. All right, someone else had emailed me, Josh. He's kind of quizzing me, Josh. If all my income from my husband and me, my income, how do you say it? My husband and me, not my husband and I don't know how you say that. Either way, if my income is solely between my husband and me, $90,000 a year, and it's all in Social Security, I have no other income other than $90,000 a year. What is my taxes? And of course, the answer to that is zero. So apparently she interviewed a financial advisor who said 85% of your income will be subject to taxation. And it's silly. No, it's simply not true. If your only income source is Social Security, you pay no taxes. I've done a million videos on this. I'm not going to do it here. In fact, I think even in my book, The Tax Bomb in Your Retirement Account, I did that. You're not paying taxes if your Social Security is your only source of income, even if it's $90,000. It's just not happening. Ron recently retired about a little bit over a year ago, and he thought food would be his highest budget expense, and lo and behold, it is not. In fact, food comes in at a third place at $5,300 a year. Medicare comes in at second place, right at $8,000 a year, and his housing costs are still first, even though he paid his mortgage off and has significantly dropped his housing expense. And his housing costs are about $8,500 a year. Food, shelter, health, all for less than $20,000 a year. That ain't too shabby, my friends. Let's see what else Ron says. Year of retirement, he says, expenses are significantly worse than what he anticipated they would be, or lower, I should say. Maybe not significantly, or lower significantly. I saw significantly. I think it significantly dropped when he paid off his mortgage. But anyway, after a year in retirement, his expenses are lower than what he anticipated, even with high inflation. Even when he used the all deductible for his Medicare plan, prescription copays, out of pockets, and full deductible, still well below what he anticipated. And it allows him to give more to the church because the church's finances are stretched quite thin. Look, that's just from the horse's mouth, man. I can't remember where Ron and his better half lived, but $8,300 for housing costs, that ain't cheap. But with no mortgage, $7,000 to $8,000 for healthcare, $6,000, $5,000 or something like that for food. It just, I don't know why people don't get this, man. How many shirts do you need for apparel? How much transportation? You're probably gonna be just fine. All right, let's see what else we got. He said the one thing he did find was surprising was he's had a couple late bills because as opposed to when he got his paycheck, he'd just send the payment off. Now he has to set the bills up on an automatic payment that he's not used to doing. I'm butchering what he said, but I just kind of chuckled at that. He goes, I haven't had a late bill in 35 years, but now because I don't have a paycheck, it kind of overlooks it. I had a client, and I thought this was pretty interesting. And I've done this a couple times too, where you just pay, like on my electricity bill, I think I stroked him a check for like $3,000 at the start of the year or something like that. My gas, like probably $1,500, just say, here, take the money and just take it out. But the problem with that is I don't know exactly what my payment's going to be. So come August or October, something like that, I don't know what it is. And I just put it to the side. Next thing you know, I've actually had this happen one time. If we don't receive a payment, we're going to shut you down. I wasn't that bad, but something like that. Anyway, the point being is, man, I just pay it by the month now. If it's a utility bill of some sort, I think it was gas. Like if we don't have, I think I owed him like $24 or something. And I got a $20 late fee. I was like, Anyway, so I kind of chuckled at Ron. He said, yeah, I've had a couple late bills. But he said, yeah, retirement has been incredible. He goes, definitely a lot more positive things than I anticipated and very few negative things. So there you go, man. And, if they're working with me, they're not freaking living high in the hog. They're just regular average Joes, that's for sure. Star has a 3.3% safe withdrawal rate, according to Morningstar. Let's dive into that. The 4% rule no longer works, they said. Let's see what Morningstar is saying here. Morningstar, the financial service company, found that retirees seeking a fixed withdrawal strategy should have 3.3% of their savings coming out. A retiree with $1 million, and this is the 4% rule, would draw 40% the first year, and then subsequent withdrawals would be adjusted for inflation. He'd draw $41,200 the next with a 3% inflation rate. Why would you? And then the Morningstar says 4% may no longer be feasible because it's likely overvalued with the high markets. Where are you getting the 3% inflation from, Morningstar? That's the issue. Where are you getting that? This is fundamental. Where are you getting that 3%? If someone says historical, say, have you recognized the changes in CPI? On top of that, you recognize housing is the biggest cost, transportation is the second biggest cost. Just the whole thing is freaking stupid. I'm sick of it. That does not mean you don't adjust for inflation. It just means you take a deeper dive in your own expenses like my man Ron did, and you say, if housing is $8,300 and I say my property taxes, you can adjust that. You can adjust that for inflation, sure. But why would you adjust it based on your pre-retirement spending on just a broad number? Doesn't make any sense. So Ron here, let's say he made $100,000 before. Now he needs $30,000 a year in income. That's it. All right. So just for simplicity, use $30,000 at a 5% inflation. He needs $31,500. That's it. Yeah. Think he can't do that? I think he's gonna be just fine. Let's see what else we got here, if anything. Someone had sent me an article about the crushing financial penalties for being married in retirement. And he asked, do I think divorce is an option? No. No, I don't. Harry emails me asking me to do a video on the benefits of Social Security and it's taking it early and investing the rest, as we've heard a million times this Sunday. And, that's his scenario he's thinking about going towards. I got no qualm with that. He wants me to do a video to show what the future value would be on investments if he allowed them to accrue. But no one knows this. See, this is the issue with these scenarios is we have no clue, man. None. But I do know for a fact that Social Security, as I said, to start this whole thing, if that's your only source of income, it's tax-free. All right? If you have investments in deferred accounts, it's taxable. And a lot of times it's taxable when you at least need to pay the taxes. I mean, what I mean by that is you need that money to last, and all of a sudden you got a 15 to 20% hit or whatever it is. I don't know. To Uncle Sam, and I guess it won't be in Georgia, and I can't remember where Jerry lives, but it doesn't matter. It matters how much you're pulling the money out, and then it makes your Social Security subject to taxation as well. So the issue, of course, is we have a definitive amount of Social Security. We know exactly what the Social Security benefit will be today. There's no downside risk to Social Security. It's not going away. So that's a guarantee. The other thing is we don't know what the markets will do. I'm of the opinion the markets will not be great. I just don't think they will. I think we've had a 40-year run of, 80s, 90s, and teens. All right, so we've had 3 of the last 4 decades were insanely profitable. One of the decades was not even not profitable, just flat. That may or may not continue on. I don't see it happening. So I'd rather basically start taking the gains off the table that have accumulated over the last many, many, many moons and allow my Social Security to grow so that way my Social Security can grow and be more favorable to me from a tax perspective. Never mind my spouse. If I were to die early, I want my spouse to get the biggest benefit. But I mean, look, you can crunch these numbers. It's kind of like buy term and invest the rest. It's kind of like leverage your home, the whole thing. It's all about simplicity for me, man. The market's done like this, shoosh, the last since 2009. I mean, it's just monstrosity in terms of the growth. Why not just start spending that money down and allow your Social Security, which is guaranteed and is tax favorable, to accumulate? That just seems to benefit to me. But I'm not gonna yell at anybody if they don't do that. Let's see what else. Say sent me this on let's see here. Hold on a second. On umbrella. High value home, no umbrella. That's me. I don't have an umbrella anymore. I might revisit this. This is a good article. This is a good sales pitch. One thing that's a constant is life is changing. Liability coverage for both auto and property insurance helps covers the cost. Umbrella helps cover the cost of other people's injuries or property damage of others if you are determined legally responsible. If you find yourself in a lawsuit, your liability insurance could add up to more than you expect. Here are some reasons why you might want to consider additional coverage. You own a home, you own a rental property. If your current auto or property liability coverage is less than your estimated net worth. Yeah. Anyway, the long story short, in Financial Planning 101 is you want an umbrella insurance policy to the extent of your net worth. And that's just a rule of thumb. Doesn't mean you have to live by it. But I was talking to a guy the other day. He lives in the Seattle area. I think he got a $2 million umbrella for like $400, $300 a year or something like that. I think he was with Safeco. I forgot. But anyways, like there's really no reason not to get one that I can see. By all means, talk to your insurance company and ask, like, why would I not do this? But yeah. So I had an umbrella and I let it lapse, and I'll probably add it back now that I got teenage drivers who are boys. That's always a risk. Love your thoughts. We'll see you